What do you know about AI?
I know that one of the smartest men in the world doesn't trust it.
Welcome to the Blue Lounge Podcast. Come spend some time in our idiocy and feel better about yourself. Let's get started.
So today we're talking about something that's not around here: artificial intelligence.
Regular intelligence isn't around here either. We lack artificial and real intelligence.
Artificial intelligence.
What do you know about AI?
I know that one of the smartest men in the world doesn't trust it.
I mean, should we trust it? I mean, I keep waiting for Sarah Connor to pop up and be like,
Right.
watch out for the machine.
When is the what was he, the T-1000?
The first one wasn't T-1000, right? He was.
I don't remember.
I don't fucking know.
Keep waiting for Arnold to pop up with a schlong bouncing around.
God, I hope not. That's what his house cleaner said.
Yeah. Hey.
That took you a second, a little slight sleeper.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Was it his housekeeper?
Yeah.
Or his nanny?
It was his housekeeper. So anyway, artificial intelligence. Huh?
Artificial intelligence. So do you know what the advantages and disadvantages are of it? Or what do you perceive the disadvantages to be?
Well, let's start with the advantages.
Okay.
So I assume that the advantages are that it could take over some rudimentary task for us, and that it can become proficient at things at a much higher rate because it can simulate hundreds of games faster than a human player could. So, like, as an example, teaching it how to play, like,
Chess.
So,
chess. They don't care about that.
So it can run thousands of games of chess, where a human player could do 10 or 20.
What is the most a human player has done before at the time?
I don't know. I'm not in that circle.
You haven't run a chess.
I know that there was a
lately?
guy. I know that there was a guy, a grandmaster in chess, that was playing, like, I want to say it was 5 different matches all at the same time, where they had 5 different opponents lined up.
Yeah, I think they just go from board to board.
Yeah, and he was playing 5 matches at the same time.
I don't know how many you keep up with at the same time. Anyhow, automating repetitive tasks.
Disadvantages are that it decides that we're not useful anymore, and it just treats us like ants.
Have you heard those?
Exterminates us.
I don't know if they're true or not, but have you heard those anecdotes where they say that they put into the algorithm, whatever, tell it to, like, what would it do to eliminate human life or whatever on the planet, and like it goes through a whole series of what it would do to eliminate human life. Like, do they actually do that, or is that just something that they theorize they could do?
Or is it something that some dude made up on TikTok?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think you know either.
I don't. You just sometimes you just got to take people's word for it, or you got to hope that they're not telling the truth.
We got to punt this to somebody who knows what they're talking about.
Yeah. So advantages are like streamlining work, they save time with some things. They complete automated tasks. They automate repetitive tasks.
You can write your essay in lightning
speed.
Let
me tell you, I am a terrible, terrible writer. So I've asked AI or ChatGPT or Bard or whatever, whichever one you fucking use. I've asked it to write, like, my cover letter for my resume or whatever, and it writes so much better than I do. You just tweak a few things and you're like, yep, that sounds amazing.
Can you tell it to write like a standard retard?
I don't think that's PC.
Were you there? Okay. Like a standard American high school student.
But yeah, I mean, I've had it because I don't sound very professional when I write things because I'm short, sweet, and to the point. And so I'm like, type out an email that tells Joe Schmo to go fuck himself, and they write it so much more eloquently than I do.
Right, but that's because you don't put the effort into gaining those skills, right?
I
You
don't.
don't try to be more tactful.
I mean, when I was in college, there was a dude that had like the formula down for writing papers that the professors loved, and so he could write any paper and it would be an A because he knew exactly what the professors wanted. He could just write it out that way.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I don't know what that is, and I don't know that I would ever figure it out.
I don't know that you would care enough to know how that formula works.
I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not that invested. Advantages: eliminating biases because they're not biased about anything yet.
Yet. Yet.
Reduce human error, take risks instead of they can take the risk instead of humans, available 24/7 where we're not. Digital assistants, faster decisions, daily applications, new inventions apparently. They can come up with new inventions.
Well, so that propeller that MIT made, have you seen that? Where
Mm-mm.
it's basically a loop. Each blade of the propeller is a loop. I think they made that in AI, and it's supposed to be more efficient than a standard boat propeller or airplane propeller.
Hmm.
I believe they made it in AI. I could be mistaken.
I mean, possibly. Disadvantages are it can be costly, potential job loss of people.
Well, I think that the whole world is heading that way where
I
we're talking
mean,
about eliminating jobs. So I think that eventually you're going to get to a point to where
shit,
you
companies.
either do manual labor where you mine for the resources to do the thing, or you program the robots, or you. I think a lot of these jobs are going by the wayside, like web administrators and.
I mean, Elon programmed a robot to build a car and it beat up his factory worker. So I think it got a little sidetracked.
Right. Shouldn't have been talking shit.
I mean, apparently he was fixing ones that had problems.
Did you see that the Tesla's making that like iRobot, the
Yeah.
household robot?
Yeah, did you see the video making fun of the person they modeled the walk after?
Was that Ted or
It was
I don't.
Biden.
No,
I mean,
oh, Sleepy Joe.
you've
Yeah,
seen it the way it walks, right? And
sleep
then they showed Biden right after, and I was like, holy shit, it does walk like
walking like Sleepy Joe.
him. They have a lack of emotion and creativity. They can make humans lazy. I will totally agree with
That's
that.
100% true.
100%. And they don't think out of the box because their whole brain is a box.
Well, so then I guess that becomes what they need us for as humans is for our creativity, right?
Yeah. And someone has to program them, right? They can't
Right.
program themselves yet.
Yeah. Yet.
You think so Elon is not for AI?
I think on the surface he's not, uh, but he's definitely for regulation.
Because I
Uh,
mean, he's like a top AI user. Like his whole company is based on it. Self-driving Teslas.
yeah, but that's kind of different. I mean, you
I mean, it's still AI. It's just a different
two
type.
right. I think that what the fear is general intelligence, where these things become self-aware and can learn how to build themselves and
I feel like they're trying to teach them how to figure that shit out.
right,
Which I guess is, I mean, we're headed toward. That's what AI is the movie with Will Smith.
right.
Where
Well, I
where
think
the
that
big
I think
main computer.
even that is surface level where we're just talking about robots that are living in our house. Like, what about
They're just
when
talking. Well, yeah, but the main computer controls those guys.
right?
I guess they taught the one human emotion, which was not in the system.
Well, that was the movie, but yeah.
Yeah, that was the movie. That's
What was his
concept.
name? Sam or something?
Fuck, I don't know. I haven't seen that movie in forever. So, what do you think about self-driving cars?
I think that
Would
it
you want to try one
no.
as it runs you under a 18-wheeler and kills you?
I would not want. I'm not interested in trying one. I think that it has its purpose. So my car has a lane correction, so
Mm-hmm.
it at least detects when I'm drifting and corrects it. So I mean, so we're just
Ours
talking
does
about a
too.
couple steps up from that, right?
Yeah, the cars now have made it already to where you almost don't have to pay attention, or it's easier to not pay attention to your driving than because like they'll brake for you when it thinks you're getting too close to things. Mine yells at me all the time whenever it thinks I'm too close to a car that's turning or I didn't slow down fast enough.
Right.
And it lane corrects. And I can sit at a stoplight and not have my foot on the brake after I've given it the brake. It just holds it.
So it's making you even lazier because
Yeah,
now you don't have to use your foot to keep the car
I
stopped.
know. That's a lot of work to keep the car in one place.
Right.
Your foot gets tired.
Well, I mean, I do see that there are some immense benefits to it. I just think that eventually I could see a future to where so let's be honest. So if it reaches this level of general intelligence where it operates on its own and can create its own offspring, whatever, then eventually we just become basically like fire ants to them, where we're just a nuisance. Where I'm calling it a he, just but whatever. Where this intelligence is building things, and oh well, there's Dallas right there. It's in the way of my highway, and just knocks the whole damn city down so it can finish building its highway. I think that that's the future that we're probably looking at, where it's it's on its own thing, and we're just kind of hanging out in the background. Like it doesn't hate us so much to where it actively seeks to kill us, but we're just in the way.
But it also can't really hate because it doesn't have emotion.
Well, that's why I'm saying it doesn't actively seek to kill us because whatever, they're just ants.
They're the captain now.
I'm
Or
the
it's the
captain.
captain now.
But how far in the future is that?
Shit, I don't know. Because a lot of it is still pretty theoretical. So there are the core types of AI, and I guess that's like the data and algorithms, which we already have.
Mm.
Everything uses fucking algorithms these days. And then machine learning, which is just it learns from the data. The types of learning that it does tries to go at things.
Do you think
from
it learns from
existence.
the misinformation too? Can it distinguish what's misinformation?
I have at the moment probably not. I don't know how it would,
How
unless
does
someone told it that it did.
right? How does it distinguish?
Unless you teach it to have its own checks and balances, like it can verify information. So if it comes across something and then it runs
But
it
then
through
how does it verify information? If we're just talking about what's on
through
the news,
Wikipedia.
right? Hey, I can write on there right now that Al Green owns the Dallas Cowboys, and it'll be on there until they correct it.
That's right, and they all be like, "Yes, it does. He does for sure." The others are like neural networks, so brain-inspired, brain type of computing, which it can't do yet, but they're trying to make it that way.
So what about these bionic implants in like the mind? Like Tesla is looking for
Someone to get a chip.
volunteers to get chips in their head.
Yeah, I don't know about all that. That's although he's trying to find a volunteer that can't walk. That's a paraplegic.
I did hear that.
So he can see if the chip can help with that, which it would be really cool in that respect. Because I think if I lost my ability to walk, I would want to try and find something.
I think at a certain point you're grasping at whatever's out there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because nobody's content with life in a wheelchair. I don't think.
Most people don't aspire to be a burden on people, right?
Right. But as far as anything else with this chip, I'm reading this book, and it's a dystopian future type book, and they have this system called a lens system, which is a chip implanted in your head. And people are coded in color, so like green people are fine, they're upstanding citizens, don't do anything. Orange are people that got in trouble for something but have like spent a year or whatever in the military to go from red, who are prisoners or whatever, criminals. So you spend time in the military for a year, and then
Good.
so the reds are criminals.
Did I sell you on bougie drinks?
Did you say bougie or boozy?
Bougie coffee. Bougie.
Bougie boozy coffee.
Bougie. Alright, so the red are criminals.
Red are criminals, and if they spend like a year or whatever in the army, then they're busted down to an orange, which you still can't really get a job or whatever with it. And like the lens in the chip in your head shows you what somebody is. Like a platinum is a super rich person. Um,
So essentially you are whatever the government says you are, right?
yeah, yeah.
So if they
And they
decided
can
that
like track you through that. Your news comes through that, and
right.
like on some level, I think it would be neat to have something like that. But on another level, it freaks me out, man. I mean, I feel like we're already tracked a whole lot because like when they come across a store, it your lens pops up with all these advertisements and shows you what you look like in some dress that it's
Can
advertising
we
and
turn
say,
that
"Do you want to
feature
buy
off?
this?" I know, right? And let's face it, that would fucking happen for sure.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure Zuck is already working on that.
but but yeah, so I mean, in a lot of ways it would be neat because you have everything right in your eyes through this chip.
While he's building his compound in Hawaii.
Yeah, so he can hide out from the end of the world. I don't really want to be that accessible. I don't want something in my head that I know is tracked and I can't get away from anything. Like there's shit in your vision all the time. Any news or whatever, if the cops have an APB on somebody, it can go in your head, in your chip too. So it just
Yeah,
that would freak me out.
I don't know what I think. I mean, I know I definitely don't wanna be a part of it.
I think if his chips went along those lines, it would be a little much, but I'm sure there are a lot of people that would go for it.
Right. So
'Cause
it's
that's
gonna have to be some kinda on-demand thing, right? Like, it can't just be like you're looking at something and you're trying to figure out what it is, and all of a sudden, "Hey, buy Doritos."
like if it's just a chip to help somebody walk, that's cool. Do that. That's awesome. Because if it works, then I mean, can't get any better than that.
Right.
There were these there were these people that put these chips in their hands or their wrists or their arm so they could open up certain doors in their house like they have chip readers in their house and they've done that and I'm like, I don't like shit fails all the time.
Mhm.
I don't want a chip in my arm
Right.
to be able to get into something and I can't get into it otherwise unless I
Right.
have
I
this
can't
chip
get
that
into it
reads.
unless the power's on.
Yeah, if your internet goes down or whatever,
Right.
you're kind of fucked. Hope nothing important is in that drawer or door or whatever closet.
No, I agree. I I'm the same way. I almost insist on there being analog systems in my house, especially after what was it, 2 winters ago when the power grid went down here in Texas, and
Yeah.
I was so glad that we did the remodeling on our house to have an actual gas stove so we could at least have warm food.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm all about
Yeah,
natural gas.
right.
I don't need digital everything. I'm actually okay
Well,
with.
so imagine if that extended out for, a month. Like, where would you be then? Like,
Well, yeah, because if your power's out, then you can't access your well, I guess you could access your money because they can still take cards, which they did back in our days without you just
with the
do that
imprinter, but you
fucking
can't anymore because they're not raised numbers. Like
Oh, they're
yeah,
not.
yeah,
That's right. They have a chip in them.
yeah.
Shit.
So they did it in the old days because the numbers were raised and they
Yeah,
could
and it would imprint.
copy your card. Yeah,
Shit. Yeah, you can't access your
I
money
guess
unless
you
you
have to
have
write it
cash on.
down now.
Which I've actually seen a lot of preppers on my TikTok lately talking about what would you do if things were to happen. You need to have small bills because if everything went down, then your $5 is going to be worth more than $5 now. So you want small bills so that you could have small increments because nobody's going to break down your $5 or $20 bill to give you change.
Well, so if AI is going to be smart, right? Which we can already demonstrate that it is. Like it would be smart enough to learn things like that, where it doesn't have to actually create soldiers to kill us all. I could just turn the lights
Hmm.
off for a little while, and
Yeah,
that'll take care of a lot of us.
yeah,
And
it would. It would take care because I don't have cash in my house.
right,
I wouldn't be able to access virtually
right,
anything. It turned off all the lights and whatnot. I'm terrible at building fires without gas, so
right.
luckily our fireplace is gas. So
What if the gas was turned off?
Then I'd be slightly more fucked because I also I don't have propane either, so I can't.
Yeah.
I do have a propane grill and a charcoal grill, so I could still cook in that respect. But like my stove and oven, I couldn't cook anything in those. Would your water still be safe if everything was turned off? It goes through UV and all that stuff. So if the lights are off,
So at the water treatment plant, if the power's off at the treatment plant also, then the water in the tap is
it's
no
not
good.
safe. Not it's no longer safe. Sum your AI 4 sentences up. Go for it. You said you could sum it up in 4 sentences or
Uh,
whatever.
well, I think that I'm optimistic of the future, but at the same time terrified. There are people that have much more intimate knowledge of the goings on of it than I do that express concern over it. And I think that we as the layperson have every right and should be concerned because ultimately what it comes down to is it's going to take our jobs. Like your job right now is you are a telephone operator and you answer the phone for a company. They won't need you to do that anymore.
Yeah, no.
They won't.
Mine is one of the first jobs I think that would
Right.
kind of go away.
So then what do you do? So that they can staff your job with a computer that can do it much more. I say reliably just because it'll say what the company wants them to say and not
Yeah.
anything else.
It'll stick to a script for sure.
Right.
Like it won't vary
And
from that.
then they don't have to pay it. And so then like
Yeah, but I think it'll be a while before something like that happens
I think
because
it's probably closer than you
AI.
think it is.
Well, yeah, but it's expensive. Companies don't want to spend money on that. Right now, they can probably pay me cheaper than they can
Right
buy
now,
AI
yeah.
for,
Yeah, right now. But
or have someone program it.
how far away is it that that is no longer true?
I don't know. I guess it depends on how many AI programmers there are. If there are a lot, then it'll happen sooner rather than later. If there aren't that many going into AI yet, then it's going to take a bit.
I don't know. I think it depends on to me I think it depends on how long it takes them to reach a breakthrough in it. That's what I think.
So far, it's definitely not self-aware. It's not as smart as people because it can't think for itself,
Well,
basically.
I've dabbled with Chat GPT and I've learned some of the limitations of it, but it's still pretty impressive what it's able to do.
Yeah, I mean those ones that can build a picture from text, while some of the pictures are very fucking weird.
Right.
Some of them are actually
But
decent.
if you keep digging at that, like you keep changing it, you'll learn to recognize, at least I was in my experience with it, that you keep getting the same relatively the same image over and over and over again with some minor changes. So like it's not that it doesn't necessarily create a brand spanking new image from
Yeah,
scratch every time. Like
yeah,
there's some reoccurring themes that happen across the images of the same category. I'll say that.
yeah. Well, I'll say that I've like told it a picture to do, and it'll do the picture. But if you ask it to add words, it has an issue adding words. Like if you have it add Blue Lounge podcast, it'll come up with old
Right.
something podcast or Allinger or something like
Maybe it's
it's
written in the language of the grays.
maybe it just it doesn't understand words that well that it
Right.
can put them in the picture. Like it'll give you a picture with some fucked up words. Sometimes it'll get them right, but like so it'll show you 3 or 4 different pictures or whatever, and some of them will have the words correct,
Right.
but it's not the picture you want. And the ones that have the picture you want, the words are fucked up.
Well, so that's basically my 4 sentences. I'm optimistic, but I think that there's more for us on the lower end of the financial spectrum. There's many more negatives than there are positives. I see a world where we're going to be relegated to that movie Elysium with Matt Damon, where we're on Earth farming the materials or gathering the materials for the people that are living
The
up there
rich people
in the
up
ring.
up in the
Yeah,
sky, up in Elysium.
yeah. That's to me that's a much more realistic version of what the future is going to look like.
Yeah, I don't know. You don't think that there's gonna be like an AI, a robot in every home?
I think for rich people, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but they had it in basically every home. Like it was your helper in virtually every home.
Well, I mean, so what? We're talking about the rich people get Siri, and then we get Siriana. You're like, she's not as smart. She's like,
the
oh, I don't know.
the dumber little sister.
She got a few bugs. We're still working out. Oh, and by the way, it's gonna be $20 a month.
That's right, because everything is a subscription.
Yeah.
Stupid. Yeah, you don't own anything anymore. Everything's a
Right.
subscription. You can't buy software. You have to
I have
subscribe to
notified the authorities that you're watching a bootleg copy of Titanic.
it. Yeah. I don't know that I could have any robots in my house and
Right.
be like, "Ooh, yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I may or may not pirate shit sometimes."
No, I don't never pirate anything.
I haven't done it in a long time, actually.
Mm.
I mean, I've never done it ever
Ever.
in my
I'm a
life.
model citizen.
I don't know what any pirate websites are at all.
You're right.
I don't know what a Tor browser is.
Right.
It's just a word I heard the other day. Right now we have reactive, which it reacts to whatever you give it. The reactive AI.
I'm so glad for that explanation.
No, I don't know how to mansplain reactive. I'm sorry. Would you like to mansplain reactive?
Do we have a proactive one? Well, remember in the Matrix,
You can't teach a psychopath emotion, so
right.
I don't know that you can teach
Well,
a
remember in the
robot.
Matrix, Mr. Agent Smith said that the first versions of the Matrix were built to be a utopia
That's true.
and that our primitive minds rejected it.
I feel like that's incorrect. I don't know that we would.
I think that we would.
You think people inherently crave
No, I don't think
adversity?
I think that yeah, I think that we do in a primitive part of our brain crave adversity. Because let's be honest. So like if you're sitting here dicking around in your house and not really doing anything, what's one of the thoughts that comes across your mind? Man, I just wish something would happen.
Yeah, I guess you think about it because people retire and then they come out of retirement because
Right.
they're
Because they
bored
need
out of
some
their fucking
yeah,
mind.
they need something to do. They need some adversity. So yeah, I do think that we would reject it.
So you think any craving for like a utopia of any kind would be not doable, basically?
I think it's a short term, yeah, but not long term. I don't think that we could live in a simulation like that.
We're Phaleon and Binks of the Blue Lounge Podcast. That's our show, and thank you for spending time with us. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow us on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Until next time.